Her footsteps echoed in the barn. The stench hit her first, thick, sweet, and rotten, clinging to the back of her throat. Then her eyes adjusted. A woman's body hung from the rafters. The toenails were painted bright red, swaying gently in the dim light. Behind her, Robert Pickton stepped out of the shadows. The man she thought she knew, the man she had lived with, the man she thought she loved. He leaned close and whispered, "If you say a word, you'll be right beside her." That night, she ran. Months later, shaken and broken, she told police what she had seen. But by then, it was already too late. Too many women had already vanished into the soil of that farm. On the outskirts of Vancouver, in a quiet town called Port Coquitlam, stood a farm. To outsiders, it was nothing more than barns, pigs, and tractors. But beneath that soil lay one of the darkest secrets in Canadian history. His name was Robert William Pickton, the pig farmer killer. This is not just the story of a murderer. It's the story of a community that looked away, of a system that failed, and of women whose voices were silenced. Tonight, we remember them. Before we continue, if you're drawn to stories of true crime, mystery, and the darkest corners of human nature, subscribe and turn on the bell. That way you won't miss the next case we uncover from the shadows. Robert Pickton was born on October 24th, 1949. But even in his first moments of life, something went wrong. His umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, starving his brain of oxygen. Doctors saved him, but whispers in his family claimed the damage was permanent. Every morning, the Pickton children woke to the screams of pigs being slaughtered. Blood in the mud wasn't unusual. It was routine. Linda, the sister who would one day escape, and Dave, the brother who would never leave his side. Life on the farm was harsh. Their father was cold, their mother demanding. The children learned early that animals were not companions, but commodities. At 12 years old, Robert was given a calf of his own, a pet he adored. One day he came home eager to see it, only to be told, "Check the barn." Inside, his beloved calf hung gutted and butchered, his best friend reduced to meat. From that day on, Robert's innocence ended. Blood, he learned, was routine. In his late 20s, tragedy struck again. First his father died, then his mother. A year later, fire swept across the farm, killing over 600 pigs in one night. The smell of burning flesh lingered for weeks. Robert rebuilt with his brother Dave, but the farm wasn't their only business. Together, they partnered with bikers in shady insurance fraud schemes, stolen cars buried beneath demolished buildings, quick money, easy lies. By day, farmers and demolition men. By night, they slipped into Vancouver's low-track district, a place of poverty, addiction, and survival sex work. And it was there, in the shadows of broken streetlights, that Robert began to hunt. In the mid-90s, Robert and Dave created something strange, the Piggy Palace Good Times Society. On paper, it was a non-profit supporting charities. In reality, it was a front for a massive illegal party space, inside a converted slaughterhouse. The parties were wild: alcohol, drugs, motorcycles. On some nights, over 2,000 people crammed into the farm. And among the chaos, Robert moved unnoticed, inviting women from the low track to party more privately with him. But once they crossed the farm gates, many never returned. In 1997, one woman fought back. Her name was Wendy. Robert lured her with drugs and money. But once inside his trailer, he tried to handcuff her. Wendy resisted. The struggle was brutal. She grabbed a knife and stabbed him deep in the back. Bleeding, Robert stabbed her too. But Wendy staggered out, flagging down a passing car. Before collapsing, she pointed to the trailer and whispered, "If I die, the man who killed me lives there." She survived. Robert survived too, stitched up with over 150 stitches. He was charged with attempted murder. But when the trial began in 1998, Wendy never appeared. Without her testimony, the case collapsed. Robert walked free. That moment could have saved dozens of lives. Instead, it became yet another failure. Through the late 90s, more women disappeared from the low track. Police dismissed the reports. They've moved on, some said. Others sneered, addicts, drifters, not worth investigating. The question is, why didn't the police act when Wendy survived? How many lives could have been saved if just one person had listened? But not everyone stayed silent. Journalist Lindsay Kinese began publishing stories, an 11-part series exposing the missing women. By 1999, a police task force called Project Amelia counted 45 missing women. Whispers of Robert Pickton's name grew louder, but still, nothing. Finally, in 2001, police got a break. A former employee tipped them off. Robert had illegal firearms that gave them a reason to search. Inside his trailer, they found handcuffs, zip ties, women's purses and clothing, sex toys, a list of women's names, and one small chilling object, an inhaler. It belonged to Serena Abbotsway, a woman who had recently vanished. DNA testing followed. Blood, hair, bone fragments, all tied to the missing women. But the most grotesque discoveries lay in the barns and freezers. Human flesh mixed with pig meat, heads sawn in half, bags of ground meat that contained human remains. Some bodies had been fed to pigs, others may have entered the food chain. Even with all this, police needed more, so they placed Robert in a cell with an undercover officer. What Robert revealed was chilling. He bragged about killing 49 women, his only regret, not making it an even 50. With that, his fate was sealed. Robert Pickton was convicted and sentenced to 25 years to life, the harshest sentence possible in Canada at the time. In prison, he was cold, arrogant, unrepentant. But in May 2024, justice came in another form. A fellow inmate attacked him. Robert slipped into a coma and died on May 30th, 2024. His brother Dave, however, still lives freely in Vancouver, running a demolition business. The story of Robert Pickton is not just about a killer. It is about the women society failed to protect, the families police ignored, the voices dismissed as unworthy. Their names deserve to be remembered louder than his. And as we look back, we must ask, how many lives could have been saved if someone had acted sooner? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, how many more walk among us, hidden in plain sight, because no one is listening?